there everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. My name is Rebecca, and if this is your first time visiting, then just take a moment now to subscribe to the channel and click on that little bell icon, and also choose to receive all notifications so that you never miss one of my crochet tutorials. In this one, I'm going to be showing you how to make this really sweet and absolutely beautiful granny square. So it's a beautiful blossom granny square. I thought obviously with the channel name I really needed to have some sort of beautiful flower granny square, because obviously I love granny squares as well. But this beautiful blossom one is just something a little bit different. It's got this beautiful rounds of texture as well, and beautiful rich detail, and then obviously these gorgeous petals in the middle. So I'm going to show you step by step how you can complete this. But also make sure that you check out in the description box. There will be all of the yarn information, links to joining tutorials as well, because there's a few different options for joining. So those links will be in the description as well, along with timestamps. So you'll have each round at a different timestamp. So if you chop backwards and forwards from the tutorial at different times, it will be easy for you to find exactly where you were up to. So let's just jump straight in with this beautiful blossom granny square. So for this I'm going to be using the Scheepjes Stone Washed yarn. This is the XL yarn, and I'm going to be using a 5mm hook, but obviously you can use any yarn and whatever hook size that yarn recommends. So the great thing about Scheepjes is they all come with this easy start pull. So I'm going to start with slip knot on my hook, and then you can start with a magic ring if you prefer. However, I prefer to do it the cheaty easy way. So I'm going to chain 2, and then into this very first stitch I'm going to put 8 UK double crochet. So in the US these are your single crochet. So you'll insert into that first chain, yarn over and pull up, and yarn over and pull through both loops. Now if you're still a little bit unsure of starting and ending your rounds, then just pop a stitch marker into that very first stitch so you know where you started. Okay, and then back into that same chain space you're going to put another, and we want 8 in total. So insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through both, so that's 2. So we want 6 more. 3, 4 and 8. Just do a quick check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that very first stitch where I've just removed my stitch marker. So I'll insert my hook, yarn over and pull through, and then pull that through the loop that's already on your hook, and that is your slip stitch. I'm now going to chain 1, snip off, and I'm just going to pull that out and then tighten up. So ignore that little tiny loop that you will have gotten from your slip stitch. These are your proper stitches on either side. So we're done with the yellow. I'm now going to bring in my pink. Now I would normally do standing stitches to start my rounds when it comes to granny squares, but because we're going to be doing cluster stitches, I'm going to be starting with a chain. So into one of your stitches, just insert your hook into one of your stitches. It doesn't matter which one, any will do. To grab that yarn and pull it through. Now you don't have to knot on if you don't want to, that's just my preference. And then I'm going to do a chain 2. And then into this stitch, so we're going to work a lot of stitches all into the same stitch. And now we're going to do a treble cluster. So you want to yarn over, insert into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. And then you're going to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. I've now got these 3 loops. I'm going to yarn over, pull through all of those loops, and that has created my first petal. I'm going to chain 2, And now obviously this next stitch will be slightly different because that one we started with a chain, whereas this one we're going to be starting straight away with our treble cluster. So yarn over, insert into your next stitch, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and do that 2 more times, all in the same stitch, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and 1 more, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. This time you'll have 4 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over, pull through all of those loops and chain 2. So you're going to do that into every stitch around until you have got round, and you will have 8 petals. So do your 3 treble crochet cluster followed by a chain 2. Okay, so I've worked my final set of petals into my last stitch. Remember to do your chain 2 before you close off between these last 2 petals, and it might sound daft, but do just make sure you have a quick count and make sure you have 8 petals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we are ready to close off to the top of that very first petal that we did. So like I say, I've done my chain 2, and then I'm going to close to the top of that petal. So I'll slip stitch, I'm going to chain 1, snip off and pull that tail out and tighten up. Obviously do so in your ends as you go along, don't be me. So that is how you should look at the end of your petal round. Okay, so now I've got a slip knot on my hook with my border colour, and I'm going to start now with a standing stitch. So I'm going to do a standing UK treble. In the US, this is obviously a standing US double. So you want to yarn over, just hold it, and you're going to join in any of your chain spaces between your petals, it doesn't matter which one, yarn over and pull up, and you'll get 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is just a normal treble now. You don't need to faff about with chains or anything. And we want to do 2 more trebles. So obviously this is your first treble, and you want 2 more trebles back in this same chain 2 space. So yarn over, go back in that same chain space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 trebles and 1 more because we want 3, because this is actually going to be our corner space when we get back round to it, and we're going to finish off this corner when we get back round to the other side in just a second. So now we're going to be doing a straight edge. So into your next chain 2 space you will do 3 treble crochets. So yarn over into that next space, and you're going to put 3 trebles or doubles in the US, all in that same space. It's 2 and 3. You now want to create the next corner in your next chain 2 space. So in this space we're going to do a corner, so 3 trebles, two, 3, and because it's a corner space you want to create your corner by doing a chain 2, and then back into the same space you're going to put 3 trebles. So back in the same space. It's 1, 2 and 3. So you can see that has given us a corner. In your next chain 2 space we're doing a straight side again, so you're just going to put 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3, and then a corner again, so 3 trebles, chain 2, and then 3 trebles back in that same space. So if you continue that all the way around now, so you'll do another straight edge, one more corner, one more straight edge, and I will meet you as you get back around. Okay, so I've done my final straight edge and I need to finish off the corner where we started at the beginning of the round. So obviously we've already got our 3 trebles, but we need 3 more trebles in that space. 1, 2, 3. Do your final chain 2 and then join to the top of that stitch from the beginning of the round with a slip stitch. That's how I'm looking at this point. We should be perfectly square, no ruffling, no nothing. It should be absolutely perfectly flat, perfectly square. Okay, so I'm going to add now my final round to this granny square. I'm going to chain 1, turn, and I'm going to slip stitch back into that corner space. I'm going to chain up 2. So after that chain 2, you're going to put 1 treble into that stitch, and then you've got 2 trebles together. We're doing what is essentially a solid granny square round now, so we only want 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles in the corners instead of 3. And then we're going to be working not into the back loop, we're actually going to be working into the one just below it. So if I show you, if you turn slightly, you've got all of those V's along the top, and we're going to be ignoring the V's and we're going to be going into, if you turn it back again, the next stitch down. So let me just take my hook out and bring in a smaller one. We're going to be going into this part of the stitch. So not into the V's, we're going into the very back part of all of these stitches. So not into the back loop of the V, not into the V, we're going into the bit below. And we're just going to do 1 treble crochet into each and every one of those all the way along. So you'll have 3 trebles, 3 trebles, 3 trebles. So we're going to yarn over, insert into that back part of the stitch. The very first one might be a little bit fiddly. Yarn over and pull up, and you'll just complete your treble as normal. And then again, not into the V or the back loop, but into the next part back from the stitch. Insert and complete your treble. So you're going to do 1 treble into that loop on every stitch all the way along. So once you've worked a treble into each of those stitches, you'll be at your corner, and in your corner you're going to do 2 trebles. 1 and 2, chain 2, and then 2 trebles back in that same space. So 1 and 2. And then again, you're ready to work into those loops on the backs of these stitches. And if I just turn this around now, you will see it just gives us a really nice little bit of detail, because it pushes the V from the tops of those trebles out to the front, and you just get a little bit of texture and just that added bit of pretty detail as well. So if you continue that all the way around, and I will meet you to close off this final round. Okay, so I've worked along my last edge. I need to finish off the corner now that we started at the beginning of the round, and we want to do 2 trebles. Oops, didn't do that very well. You want to do 2 trebles into that final corner space. 1 and 2, chain 2, and then close with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 2 from the beginning of the round. I'm going to chain 1 and snip off and pull that through. Tighten up. Obviously ignore all of my ends, you hopefully won't have any of those. And that is how you should look when you turn it back around. So you'll have that lovely little bit of added detail. Obviously you don't need to do that final round if you don't want to. It really finishes it off and just makes it stand out that little bit more. It makes it so unique, and it will just give a lovely bit of texture to whatever you choose to use these for. So I'm going to go ahead and sew in my tails now, but I really hope that you've enjoyed the tutorial, and I really can't wait to see your beautiful blankets on Instagram. So do tag me if you make these for sure. And I'll see you for another tutorial really soon. Bye for now.